Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to the first day of our science investigation. So this is our science investigation on soil composition. Now, it's very important that you pay close attention to my screen so that you can observe the different kinds of soils we are going to be displaying. So before we even begin, I want you to think about where you find different types of soil. Okay, where does soil come from? What is soil? And can you only find soil in one type of area? Okay, so as you see here on my plate, I have my first plate labeled with a 1, and then I have another plate labeled with a 2, and then I have a fourth plate and also a third plate. Okay, now before I even begin discussing what the plates are for, I want to show you the different kinds of soil we are going to be experimenting with today. So I already prepped some of the investigation before recording this video. So you'll notice right on the screen right now, there are 4 different vials, each with a number on them. So a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. Okay, within each of these vials, I'll turn it to the right a little bit, are different kinds of soil from different types of places. Okay, so this is these are examples of 4 different kinds of soil that we're going to be experimenting and observing and really digging deep within. Okay, so I'll hold it up to my camera a little closer. Okay, so you could see that I filled up each of the vials about 2/3 of the way. Okay, and you're going to be able to see this soil in just a minute and how different each of them are. Okay, so this is what the paper plates are for. So matching with each of the number vials, I'm going to pour each of the soils into the plates with the correct number. So for example, for soil number 1, I'm just going to stand it up right there. I'm going to take plate number 1 and I'm going to dump all of the components within soil number 1 within the plate. Now this is just regular soil, okay? I'm not going to tell you where it's from yet because that's for later on in the investigation. Okay, so I'm going to dump just the 2/3 amount of soil within this vial onto the plate, and you are going to observe what you notice about this. Okay, so here we go. Just gonna spread it around on the plate. Okay, I'm gonna shake it up a little bit. And I want you to take a really good look at what you notice about this soil. Okay, you can pause your screen right here because I'm going to go through each of the 4 soils, but if we take a look at our directions for today, we are going to be observing each of the soils on slide 5 in our science notebooks. Now, you are going to be observing each soil with the correct number and jotting down what you see in the box. So what I want you to record is what color you see, the shape of the materials in each of the soils, the particle size, and also the texture. Okay, so if we go to our science notebook and we go to slide 5, this is where you're going to be making the observations, okay? So for soil number 1, you'll click on this box and you're going to write all of the observations you notice about the soil that I'm going to show you again, relating to the color, the particles within. Does it look thick? Does it look thin? Just giving as many different observations that you see and you're jotting it in the box. Okay, so I'm going to leave the soil right here for about 10 seconds. You can pause it while you make your observations because then we're going to move on to the next kind of soil. Okay, so I'll kind of push it around so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so that was soil number 1. So you should have paused your video right there to make your observations. If you didn't, now is the time to pause the video, make your observations for soil number 1. And now we're going to move on to soil number 2. Okay, so here's my plate labeled with a 2 And I'm going to dump my contents of soil that are in vial number 2 onto the plate so you can observe. Okay, so what do we notice about the soil now on this plate? Okay, once again, you can stop your camera right here, stop the video or pause the video, so you can take your observations and write them down into the soil number 2 box on side 5 in your science notebook. Okay, so you should have paused your video again to take your notes or your observation notes for soil number 2, and now we're going to move on to soil number 3. Okay, so again, I'm taking my vial number 3 and I'm going to dump it into plate number 3. Okay, so what do we notice? I'm going to move it around a little bit. What are some of the textures we see? What are some of the materials that we see in here? What color is it? Okay, so go ahead and pause your video right here so you can really observe the soil and take your notes in the 3rd box on the 5th slide of your science notebook. Okay, so now, last but not least, we're going to move on to soil number 4. Okay, so again, taking my vial number 4, that's filled 2/3 of the way with some soil, and I'm going to dump it into the plate so you can observe. Okay, so what do we notice about this kind of soil? What is in it? The color, the texture. Okay, so right now you can pause your video and I want you to really look at the soil here and make your observation notes on the 5th slide of your science notebook. Okay, so again, in case you forget what kind of observations you need to make, it is in the directions right here. So the kinds of observations that we are looking for. Okay, so that's all you're going to be doing for today, just observing what you notice over here. And then you're going to answer the focus question on slide 6. Okay, so in our science notebook on slide 6, what is soil? So I'm looking for a really nice response here with complete sentences, giving as much detail as we can based on what we know, what we learned, and what we saw today. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to be looking at some other things relating to the experiment, and I'm excited to show you. Have fun, boys and girls.